Editorial challenges for journalists covering tribal governments. This episode of Today in News Tech is made possible with audio articles by ourhometown.com. In this episode, we follow up on our previous coverage of a news study from the Pew Research Center. Total number of U.S. Statehouse Reporters rises, but fewer are on the beat full-time. The final topic of the study, coverage of tribal governments, in many cases a struggle for editorial independence, focuses on reporter demographics, financing, and independent press initiatives. About a quarter of Native Americans live on reservations or other trust lands, many of which have their own governments that exist alongside state and federal governments and can enact and enforce laws and regulations. As with other government activities, reporters can play a key role in informing citizens about the policy debates and legislative activity in these entities, from the Pew Report. Here are a few of the big takeaways. Pew Research Center identified 134 reporters who cover tribal governments for 44 media outlets. Of these 134 reporters, 78 work for outlets that cover specific tribes, while 56 work at outlets that cover indigenous governments regionally or nationwide instead of focusing on one single tribal government. The plurality, 60 of these reporters work for either a newspaper or newsletter, while 37 work for digital outlets, 19 work for radio stations, 1 works for a television station, and 17 work at outlets that cover multiple platforms, such as both a radio station and a newspaper. Sterling Cosper of the Native American Journalists Association said the issue of editorial independence comes back to the funding. If there was more available funding out there, I would say we operate under a public media model. Dean Rhodes, editor of Smoke Signals covering the Grand Ronde tribe in Oregon, estimated that there are 5 or 6 Native American newspapers that are able to do what they feel is journalistically appropriate, adding that the last time I went to a NAJA conference, we put on a seminar about press independence, and the biggest question we kept getting was, how do we get our tribe to do that for us?
Today in News Tech, the podcast covering innovation in digital journalism. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter and subscribe on YouTube or any of your favorite podcast apps. We'll see you tomorrow.
At our hometown, we help newspapers build WordPress websites, design native apps, and develop digital subscription models. If you are interested in a free prototype of your publication on WordPress, go to ourhometown.com and click the Contact Us button.